All right, we are about ready to get started. Welcome to our seventh call. We've had a pretty good run at these things. Our turnout is getting better and better each time. And I have a couple of special guests on the call today. So I'm going to unmute Coach Devin Baker. Coach, if you want to introduce yourself, explain how long you've been coaching and what you got for us.
Hey guys, Coach Baker. I've been coaching for, I think 11 years now. I've coached Calgary Selects, Bantam, George McDougall, Spring League, Team Alberta Flag. So bit of everything, bit all over the place.
Okay, perfect. So Coach Baker is going to be jumping in on today's sessions, giving whatever advice he has. He has a lot of familiarity with what we're going to be talking about today. And the other coach I'd like to introduce you to just joined, so I'm going to unmute him and put him on the spot. Duncan Little, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Hey, I'm Duncan. Just with Alex here. Sorry. Yeah, played football in Airdrie, played football in Langley, so here to help out.
Perfect. So Coach Baker and Coach Duncan, feel free to unmute yourselves and add to whatever you want to add to the chat. What we're going to be talking about today are leads. Very, very common play in football, but very underrated. It's something I really believe in as a coach who actually likes to run the ball a lot, irregardless of what other people think. I do run the ball more than most offensive coordinators do, and leads and counters are two of my favorite things. So what we're going to talk about today are leads. So linemen, running backs, you are in luck. I know it's been pass heavy sessions for you, but we have 20 cut-ups of nothing but leads today, and I'm excited about it. I put a lot of work into today. So let's jump right into our agenda for today. So what we're going to be looking at is we're going to start practice with a bit of a warm-up. We're going to do some 3 running back drills, and then we're going to get into our actual plays today, break down the game film that we see. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat. I like to answer as much as I can, so please make sure that you're asking the questions that you have. Right now, let's hop into our first drills. So again, I'll talk about pre-practice drills. I will say it on every single call because I believe it's so important. You are the one responsible for your own development. Show up to practice early, about 15 minutes early. Start your pre-practice warm-up. A lot of coaches call them early outs. Super important to do. This is your own time to learn. Okay, so I've got a drill for you today that I like, and I found some video of it. So let's pull that up here on Huddle. And I will show you this one. Where did I put it? Give me 1 second here to find it. And we can go from there. Bear with me. This is my first time. It's just opening up here. Okay, so for our first running back drill that I want to show today, no, I want to cut the audio here. 1 sec. Give me 2 seconds on the warm up here. A little bit of a technical difficulty. And we'll pull it over. Here we go. Okay, so our first warm up, this is a pre-practice drill. So what I'd like you to do is get a fellow running back with you and somebody who is responsible and goes from there and wants to take their own learning. So what you're going to do is you're going to have one player play quarterback and one player play running back, and they're just going to feed you the football. Make sure your elbow that is closest to the quarterback is up. Make a big, nice pocket, and I want you to just come over top of the football, wrap your arms around, and let go. Okay, this works our zone reads. This works all of our handoffs. Really good drill just to get your mind in sync, right? Again, this is something I expect you to do on your own time. learn this ahead of time, get your running backs together, go from there 15 minutes before practice, take some responsibility, get better, get your mind ready for practice. Any questions on this drill?
I would say too, guys, that's a really good opportunity to take advantage of just really working on your big gator there. One of the worst habits I see, like a lot of good running backs develop, is they get really small with their opening, and that's when fumbles happen. So really good chance just to work on big gators there and getting the handoff.
Yeah, and that's key, right? And this is a time where we can go slow. We can work at our own pace. There's nobody really watching. This is just on you to get better. Okay, so that's our first one. Okay, and that's on your own time. So the next one I'd like to talk about is handoff drill. This is an oldie but a goodie. A lot of coaches do it. I like it. The two places where we fumble the ball most is during the exchange between a quarterback and the running back, and when we're getting tackled and we put our hand down on the ground. So we'll address that in future calls, but this one is just a handoff drill. We're going to split our running backs into two lines 10 yards apart. Running back starts with the football and hands it off to the other going in the other direction, and we're going to repeat this drill for about 4 to 5 minutes, really focusing on getting your elbow up, really looking that ball in. We're going to go back and forth. Again, very basic drill, but very important. Our exchange is going to be the most successful or most disastrous part of the play. Right? So we got to get used to accepting handoffs, getting our gator big, as Coach Baker said. Right? And this one, if your coaches haven't done that, they should. If we have any coaches on the call, this is a great drill to run in practice. Really focus, keeping your eyes up, not looking at it, rolling over the football as opposed to accepting it with their hands. What we don't want to see is people grabbing it with their hands. As you see every clip in here, they're rolling over the football. Super important. That way we can guarantee that we have possession of the football before we start making a move. And then one of my favorite drills, because running backs constantly get harassed, people are constantly swiping at the football, people are constantly trying to make fumbles. Defensive coaches are teaching for the first guy to secure the guy, the second guy to come in and try to rip that ball out, right? So it's important that we practice getting harassed all the time. So this one's just a rip drill. Running back holds the ball in right hand. He's going to do 3 times right, 3 times left, and then they're going to switch partners. The partner is going to stand behind him and just to the side. The running back is only going to move at 25%. He's not trying to outrun this. He actually wants the contact as the partner rips, swipes, and goes for the ball. We're going to repeat this 3 times on each side. So let's have a look at what that looks like. Again, I really had to scour the internet to find clips on these drills. So thank you to whoever I'm ripping these off from. As you can see, though, coming over top, right, trying to get the football out. This is a great drill. Coaches, I would do this once a day or once a week at least, practice this. Coach Baker, I see you doing this drill quite a bit. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, we usually just modify it a bit. I hold on to the horse collar and let them run as hard as they can, and you can just hold them back. It's really hard for them to drag you, and then I just rip at the same time just so they're getting exhausted and trying to fight for yards and work on leg stuff at the same time. But yeah, stuff you should work on every day for sure.
Okay, key points to note. We want to keep that football high and tight. We want to have our 5 points of contact, our chest, our elbow, our forearm, our hand, and then the other hand if it gets really dicey. Any questions on our warm-ups for running backs? Okay, let's talk about leads. Now, this is one of my favorite plays in football because everybody knows what's going to happen. You are running the football. Okay, so we call it 34, 33, 34 lead. We have different names for it, but I'm not going to give away all the offensive terms that we use at George Mack or at the Raiders. But I am going to show you the play and talk about it a little bit here. So basically what this play is, it's a B-gap run play. We are zone blocking it, but we are leading with the fullback. Unlike our inside zone, you can bounce these outside, but this is a running play, and this is pointing at the defense and saying we are running the ball. This is the kind of play that tells your offensive linemen that you have confidence in them, that they're going to make the blocks. It tells your fullback that it's time to smash some heads and time to get down into the hole. Okay? We are not hiding what we're doing for the most part here. Most of the time, our quarterback will be under center, although you can run it out of shotgun. Most of the clips you're going to see are under center. Okay, so here we're going to have our fullback lead through the hole. Our running back's just going to take it. We number our holes 2. Oh, sorry, let me go back. 2, 4, 6, and the far out 8. We have 1, 3, 5, 7. Out here 9. Some teams have a 0 hole, so this might be a 0 in your scheme. Whatever it is, it's not a huge deal, but it's a B gap run that we're looking at. Okay, for the most part, our rules about being covered and uncovered still hold true. For those of you who it's the first time on the call, covered and uncovered. If you're a lineman and you're covered, for the most part, play side, you have to take the guy who's covering you before you can think about anything else. If you are uncovered, look to chip or assist with the block, and then look to get second level. On this particular play, we are looking at our center and our guard combo block here, okay? With our center and guard, whoever is covered is primarily responsible for making that block. So if we have a hard one tech, it's going to be the center who's going to be responsible for that, and our guard is going to chip up to Mac. If we have a hard 3 tech, the guard is responsible, and the center is going to chip up to Mac. But either way, we have to neutralize the defensive lineman at the point of attack, and then we have to think of getting to the second level. You're going to see clips where we don't actually get to the linebacker level. That's okay. I would rather not get to the linebacker level and make sure we're at least getting the point of attack than to get to the linebacker level and have our defensive lineman make a play in the backfield, right? I'd rather a 3-yard gain than a 5-yard loss. But if we can get a good combo block and slip up to Mac, you're going to see some clips of some home runs here that are quite nice to look at. So let's pull up some film and let's talk about it. I got my notes here, and we'll pull this over. Okay, I've got some end zone clips here, so we can slow it down a little bit and talk about this. So our first play here is going to be against the 3 front. Okay, and it's a 33 lead. So as we come up, okay, as we can see, it's a 3 front, and the reason why we know it's a 3 front, we've got 1, 2, 3 down linemen, 1, 2, 3, 4 backers. Okay, so what we're looking to do here at the point of attack, I'm going to let this roll just a little bit more here. Okay, the backer is going to come here. So who is covered between the guard and the tackle? The center and the guard? It's going to be the center. We have a player head up. We have a nose tackle. So that center has to be responsible for that block solely. Okay? He is going to get help from his guard, and the guard is going to come up to that linebacker. If we can get those 2 guys blocked and we hold our block here, we're looking at a 5-6 yard gain every time. Very hard to beat that kind of blocking scheme. So let's run it and see what happens. We have some great movement by our left tackle to get up to backer. Okay. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is that we went right to linebacker. Okay. I would have liked to chip here and then to backer, but still, we get out there, we might fall, fullback makes a play, and then we get moving. Again, very simple scheme here, covered versus uncovered, but this is a play that can really open up some holes because we're just basically outmanning at the point of attack. This is a great run by this running back. He makes some plays here. Okay, moving to our next one. Okay, it's against the 3 front again. We're going to see against the 3 front and a 4 front again. How we tell that is how we look at our down linemen. If we have 4 down linemen, that's a 4 front. If we have 3 down linemen, that's a 3 front. If we have 5 down linemen, it's called a 5 front, or an eagle setup is what it's sometimes referred to. Some people call it a Cinco setup, but we got a couple of looks at that coming up too. So this is an example of when we don't climb to the linebacker, and it really affects our ability to take this one to the house. Okay, so it's the same side, 33 lead. Now I want to point out something. Watch number 52 here. I love seeing this as a lineman. He is going to call out his block, and he's pointing to where he's going, okay? What I like about that, the defense will not be able to tell what you're talking about. You could say whatever. Everybody has their own line calls. But to me, that's confidence on where your steps are. I would like to see all 5 linemen break a huddle, point it where they need to go, and then execute it. What that does is communicate to the 5-man unit, I know where I'm going, and I know who I'm blocking. Caleb and Jacob, you both played for me. You know I like to have linemen loud and pointing where they are, so let's continue that trend. That's a really good example. But we need to chip here and then make our way up. Okay, let's see if that happens here. As we roll here, first step is to chip. We don't really get a good push to the second level. Actually, we do here. Sorry, I might have the wrong clip. And Michael breaks off a pretty good run there. Sorry, that's not Michael. That's 32.
That's Michael.
That's Michael, okay.
Yeah. Ruck took 34, so he couldn't get it, so he was all crybaby about it.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, so moving on to clip number 3. This is 34 lead against the 3 front. We're going to see the D-end crash really hard here. So the D-end is going to do his best to squeeze this down. Okay, and that actually does something good for us. Because this isn't a true zone play, we're not looking always for a cutback lane, even though we're setting it up. You're going to see, I believe it's 45, if I remember this clip properly. He's going to take a hard inside step. 51 is going to kind of clip him. We're going to get to 30, and it's going to create a nice lane for Wyatt to kick this out. Okay, so let's watch this. I finally get to use some of the end zone tape. It's not so great for receiver stuff because they only focus on the line, unfortunately. But as we watch this play, you're going to see that hard move inside by 41. We're going to push him. Fullback is going to get a chip. We're going to run this out, and we've got a successful play. I have no problem bouncing a lead as long as we press the hole first. Okay, and as you see here, if we rewind this back, our aiming point here is for the hole, and then he's going to follow his blocks and take it outside. Now, Michael knows he can outrun a lot of people. He can outrun a DB, so he has no problem getting it outside. But that's an example of if that D end really wants to influence everything and go from there. Okay, just one sec. I've got a couple of people wanting to join the call who are having some trouble with the meeting. So let me try reposting the link. Okay, moving along to play number 4 here. Okay, this is against a 4 front, and we're going to take the first 3 down linemen to the side. Sorry, ignore that comment. Line here, let's just run the play. I think I've got the wrong set of notes here. It's hard to focus when there's sun. So we have 4 down linemen. We can count them 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it really sets up some nice lanes for us. Okay, we're going to see good contact on the backer, but I would have liked this to be less of a contact and more of a block. So right here, we lead through. Everybody gets their block, but instead of holding our block right here, we kind of just get there. Okay, just getting your body in between helps, but I'd rather see us keep our feet moving, come to balance, and make the block. Okay, as we look at the line here, covered takes covered on both sides. Our fullback is responsible. I would have liked to see our center, instead of get caught up on the backside double team, I would have liked to see him come up and take 48 here. That's how the play is designed, but not the end of the world. We still have a good play. If we hold that block and we're able to get to that linebacker, so if we're able to get our body here and we hold this block here, we've got a huge lane here for a touchdown. Instead, we're still going to get 6 yards, 7 yards on the play, but it's a lot harder running than it needed to be. Okay, this has big play potential if we get our assignments.
Yeah, I honestly would have liked to see Clazy put his foot in the ground and get north-south sooner, right at that B gap almost. And faster you get 5 yards, the better always, guys.
So you're saying right here, Coach Baker?
No, even before that, next in the A gap, sorry. Right there. Yeah.
Right here. So you'd like to see him get that cutback.
Just put his foot in the ground right there and go north-south, and you're getting 5 yards immediately right there.
The other thing is, anytime you can get to secondary level, so if you can get to the linebacker level or at best the safety level, we're looking at a huge play, right? So the sooner we get north-south, the better. Play number 5, we've got 33 lead against a 4-man front. I would have liked to see on this play, let's get to the section here. I would have liked to see one of our linemen doubling the play side D tackle climb up to linebacker. Because if we can get to the MAC on this play, this is a home run. Okay, so we're looking to the left side again here, right? Okay. And as we see here, so we've got a really nice double team here. We have our not our nose tackle, but our one tech pretty much solid here. At this point here, I would like to see this player pass this block off so we can come up, right? This should be a chip. They had big linemen, so we were really trying to make sure this guy didn't make a play. He's trying to split our defenders, but if we can get up to the next level here, right? If we can shed this and get a hat on 48, we would have had a huge player. Our fullback has to pick him up, which means the linebacker he's responsible for is in the gap. I would like a better block on our end here. Right here, I would have liked to see that. Is that Mackay?
That is Mackay, yeah.
That is Mackay making a play. Good old George Mack kid. Good on him. But I would have liked to see that middle linebacker get neutralized on that play. Getting to Mack is so important when we're running leads. It can make the difference between taking it to the house and not. We have a couple of really good looks at plays where we do get up there, and it becomes a huge play, 20, 30-yard gains. Okay, moving on. Play number 6. Okay, this is a 33 lead against a 4-front as well. Let's have a look.
This is a 30 front.
Sorry, this is play 6. Yes, you are. You're right. Sorry, I got that wrong. 30 front. Okay, let's roll the tape. Make sure I have the right notes here. Out of the gun here, so you can run it out of both. We climb up. Fullback makes a nice block. This is a really good example. And I got to tell you, coaches and teams, if you're going up against 3 fronts, I really like leads. I'll let this play because Michael makes some crazy moves at the end of this. 3rd wheel drill right there, taking it to the house. Kid's a beast. But let's watch this again for the line here, okay? So covered versus uncovered rules. This player really should either chip this way or chip that way, but because everybody's so spaced out, he now has a one-on-one block with this linebacker, right? If we take this shade on this lineman, he can't make the play. If we get a half decent block here, he can't make the play. Fullback's going to come through and go from there. This has big play written all over it from the start of this play. And as we roll through, you're going to see exactly that. 52 climbs up to backer. We have second level. We have our second level block. And now the other team's only hope is the safety to make a good play. And now we're into the secondary. And now it's a horse race, and we're looking to score. We don't get there on this play, but as you can see, when we actually can neutralize that second level, we have big play potential off a relatively easy blocking scheme, especially against a 3 front. 3 fronts are coming back. I've noticed that the majority of midget teams were running three down linemen this year. We saw it more in high school. It's becoming more and more prevalent. Coach Dewan, I see you're on the call. I believe you are anyway. If you want to unmute yourself, are you seeing a lot more three fronts in defenses as well, or?
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. I think I'm still a base 40 front guy, but I will throw in some packages with 30 front. Just in, it allows a little bit more creativity when it comes to money downs, like second and long, those kind of situations where we can get after you. But yeah, they're 30 fronts are starting to become a lot more popular. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a trend I've been seeing. So, coaches keep an eye on it. And this is I really like this play to take advantage of it. When we get to counters, you're going to see a bunch of counters that don't work this way. It's a lot harder to run a counter against the 30 front than a lead, but this is a really good example of being able to take it to a house. Second level block there. Michael actually hasn't been touched right up until here, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, moving on to play number 7. Okay, it's again against the 3 front. Okay, we've got a little bit of motion here, and the only thing I use motion for on running plays is basically if they are in a zone scheme or a man scheme where the backer has any sort of coverage responsibilities, if you motion to the play side for man coverage and then run to the other side, you can just get a linebacker a little bit out of position. So it gives you a little bit of advantage with that linebacker maybe having to widen. In this case, he didn't bite, but just in case he wants to get a little bit over, we can go from there. Notice these 3 linemen are really pinching here. Okay, they are trying to take away the A-gap run. This was a short yardage play, but they still went with a 3 front. And Danny goes under center here. We're going to buy the first 3 linemen. Again, our rules are if you're covered, you have to take the guy in front of you. If you don't, they're going to make a play. For example, if we look to go second level, there's nobody covering this lineman. We have to pick him up. At best, we chip here and then out there, but we still have to make sure our down linemen are covered. Okay? So if you're covered, take the guy who's covering you play side no matter what. That's a good rule of thumb if you're a lineman and you forgot the play. As we watch here, okay, it's pretty gummed up A-B gap, but because everybody's pinching, our fullback is going to take the outside linebacker, get a hat on him. We actually have a relatively big play here because they're so far inside. They really wanted to take away A-gaps. We've been running a lot against this team. When we ran some sneaks that way, they were expecting a sneak. They were expecting us to hit A-gap here. But we wanted to go B-gap outside the C, and we get a nice bounce for a nice big game. Anything to add there, Bake?
No, that's good. I like how Wyatt just looked to bounce that initially against that front. He wasn't going to get the inside run there, so he should have been expecting to go BC gap, just like you said, just by the alignment right off the bat.
Perfect. Okay, moving on to play number 8 here. Play number 8 is again against the 3 front. I promise you we're going to come back to 4 fronts. Like I said, the 3 front was more popular this year, so I've got a lot more tape against it, and I wanted to keep as much end zone tape as I could because it really does show the line play well here. So play number 8, we should be looking, number 52 right here. I would really like to see him get to second level. If he does that, we're going to get a home run here. Instead, we look to double team, even though the guy goes the wrong way. And now 45 makes the tackle. He makes it at depth, though. So again, I'd rather neutralize the lineman at the point of attack and have a linebacker at depth have to make a tackle and gain 3-4 yards than to not cover 61 and have him blow this up in the backfield. But if we roll this back, 52 really wanted to get a hand on him, but we should be going straight up here, right? And if we can get there, even if we put a hand, now that we know he's going outside and we can get a hat on 45, then our running back has a lane to a lane to the end zone here. But because we don't get to second level, our second level makes the play here right in the zone. Good play by 45. He had a fullback on him, but he should have had an offensive lineman on him as well. Now, the only thing I could think of here is right here. If we looked at that cutback lane, we might have had something. We get there a little bit too late, maybe half a second earlier, but I mean, that's the way it goes. Play number 9, 33 lead versus a 3 front, so same side here. This is a good example of a blitz. They start to send the outside backer. I would have liked to see Mac picked up by the lineman, but we still gain some yards. So let's watch this through. It's a 3 front. Nothing different from what we've seen. No motion here. We're under center. What I like about being under center on these plays is you're sending a signal to your linemen that we are running the ball. They know we're running the ball. This is a tough guy play, right? It gets everybody's mindset that we need to gain yards here. The other thing it does is if you can get the defense thinking that you're going to run the ball a lot, this also sets up a lot of play action, right? So if you're successful under center running leads, your action leads can set up for big plays, because a way a lot of teams kind of compensate for teams that are doing really well against this is they'll sneak safety down here and play him as an extra linebacker. For many, many years, the Hilltoppers did that. You could watch in quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, the safety becoming more and more nosy to the point he's almost a linebacker. And the moment you saw him step into that linebacker area, you knew you could go over top. So it really set up your play action well. But it sends a message to everybody on your team that you're in it for hard yards here, and we go from there. So we double team here. I would like to see 52 put a hand on this player, pass him off to 62, and climb up. We don't get there, so Wyatt has to make the block, and we gain yards. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yards, but we would have had a clear line to the end zone if we climbed up and got Mac. So one of the most important things to do as a lineman, especially interior guys, is make sure we know where Mac is, make sure his number, and go from there. In fact, a lot of systems, like I said when I saw Dominic calling out plays earlier, is a lot of times our center will come up and identify the Mac on every play. Pass, run, whatever, he's going to come up to the line and he's going to say, hey, 52 is Mac, 45 is Mac, Mac 45, whatever your terminology is. That is something I'm seeing a lot more of. I like it. It allows you to know where the most obvious threat to this is here. So I would have rather Wyatt pick up 23 here, but he's going to take the most dangerous defender because we're double teaming in here. Again, I have no problem double teaming linemen, and I love the fact that we're making positive yards and we're getting downfield. But if we can scrape to second level, if we can pass that block off, if we can get a hand on and even get a little bit of a hat on this player, we're going second level. So I think that's probably Shane asking that question about hard to teach linemen to go second level. Any tips? Use the terminology covered versus uncovered. It's really simple, especially when we're talking at peewee levels or bantam level, to tell if there's a guy on top of me or if there's no guy on top of me. So if you're uncovered, your thought is, I'm going to help the covered guy and then go second level. Right? So Shane, if you're using that terminology, it's a real simple way to communicate that to the lineman. I've heard a lot of zone schemes that are made a lot more difficult than that, but that's really what zone is. If you're covered, take the covered guy. If you're uncovered, look to help and then scrape up. So Shane, the way I'd phrase that is help your covered guy out with an arm or 2 arms, and then slide up. Does that make sense? Perfect. Okay, so back to the play here. We're going to make good yards. I'm happy with this, but this could have been a house call, right? So the difference between hell and a touchdown is one block. Okay, play number 10. Wow, we are well behind. This is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. Nobody has anywhere to be. People are okay if I have to go overtime a little bit here. If you have somewhere to go, please put it in the comments. But we are on play number 10. I'll try to talk a little bit less about each play. Now, play number 10 is, I believe they're blitzing heavily here. So as we see, yeah, they're going to come right away. So we've been running this play a lot, and we were getting home on it. So if we see this kind of blitz package, right? So these two linebackers, they're about a yard off. Their heels are showing they're coming, right? They're basically extra linemen, right? If that's the case, I want to buy these 5 guys, okay, and let our fullback break it out, okay? So if we have 5 down linemen and we're running lead, buy the 5, let the fullback account for the extra backer, okay? 3 fronts are never really 3 fronts. 3 fronts usually involve a blitz to turn it into a 4 front or something like that. So if that's the case, let's buy that player and go from there. In this case, I would consider this almost an eagle front or a 5-man front. I would buy the 5 linemen, let the fullback make a play. Okay, and in this case, that's exactly what happens, although our fullback goes inside. Okay, we have a double team here, but a double team that I don't think we needed, right? If 52 saw this backer being up close and made this block, we're coming through here and it's a home run. Instead, we have to bounce it. Nothing wrong with that because we're in space, and I take our running back over a linebacker any day of the week in space. But it could have been a bigger play. Moving on to play 11. Okay, we're going to have a look from behind here. Okay, this is a key example of why I love fullbacks so much. Fullbacks are the most underrated position in football, and they're a dying breed. There's not a lot of coordinators who love them as much as I do. I think Coach Baker's one of them. But fullbacks to me are just key. The thing about a fullback versus a tight end, and I've seen a lot of tight end schemes, is when you have a tight end, they are locked to the line. They can only move a little bit. Whereas you have a fullback, you can put that fullback anywhere as the extra O-lineman. So what I'm looking at back from a fullback, what I'm looking for a fullback is somebody who can carry the football but has the grit, intensity, and size of an offensive lineman. So got to be a tough player to play that position. But we're going to get a key block from our fullback coming through here. Okay? So again, good double team. 52. I got to say, 52 is an all-star lineman. I'm just picking clips that isn't that flattering. But
I was going to say, you're making him look bad today, and he was our best lineman.
I have to say this. Dominic is one of the best O-linemen in the league. It's just the clips I found. I apologize. But if he gets to 55, we're gone. But our fullback makes a great block, and we break this to the house for a nice gain. Okay? Nothing wrong with bouncing that out. But, again, if we could get to Mac, we are gone. Right? By not getting to Mac, okay, our running back has to take this angle. Okay, if we had Mac accounted for here, instead of bouncing it this way, he's going here, right? He's coming right up this hole, which is a touchdown, right? Now it's a play against the secondary. Instead of having to run wide against the secondary, it allows other people to recover. Okay, moving along. Play number 12. Again, a 3 front. We're finally going to get that nice clean block at the second level, and let's see how this turns out. Running right here, right through this hole. Okay, coming through. Nice block at the second level. Evan turns him, and we get a really nice run. Okay, again, moving back here. This is when we get, and against the 3 front, it's really easy, especially if they're not blitzing, to get to that second level, right? So let's roll it. One more time. Second level block here. Evan's going to chip because the linebacker's playing way off. And we are gone. Save for a nice play from the secondary. We're getting our kicker warmed up. Okay, moving on. Play number 13. Three front. We're going to cut away from the three fronts in a sec, but this is a bit of a sideline view here. Not a sideline, yeah, sideline view. Okay, again, three front. We're looking for a double team up to backer. You might recognize this running back, Coach Baker. Linebacker is going to show blitz. He takes the wrong gap. We block it, and we come right through. This is the simplicity of a lead. This is why I like this so much. Coach Baker, you recognize that running back?
Oh, at that speed, that's going to be JB, I would say.
Yeah, it's Jordan Baldwin. One of the best I've worked with. But again, nice simple block at the line. They're blitzing, like I said, turning it into a forefront, but they're blitzing wrong. We get a nice block. Right here, we're climbing to second level. So we passed our block off. We got to second level. Even if you just get a hand or a hat, it can make the world of difference. If we're slowing that angle down, that Mac can't get there, and we are gone to the races. Jacob, Caleb, are you guys loving the O-line love here or what? You guys have patiently sat through running back and receiver drills and all that, so finally I get to talk about O-linemen. Okay, this is against the Hilltoppers. Okay, and this is an eagle front. What I mean by an eagle front is they have 5 down linemen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the line. Right? This is tough to play against. Okay? Teams that do this are trying to get home. They're trying to break up everything. But if we can get past that first line, we're really looking at a one-on-one block with our fullback and a linebacker as the difference for a home run here, okay? So this is an all or nothing look from the defense, in my opinion anyway. They're coming, but if we can get past it, we could break this. We don't really get past it on this play. It's not a bad gain, but it could have been better if we could get to that second level earlier, right? So as we watch, our fullback kind of gets caught up in lineman stuff, and he's taking the first threat, so he's not getting right out to the linebacker. But if we are able to buy the 5 linemen, we have 5 guys on the line of scrimmage. They have 5 guys on the line of scrimmage. If we can make the play there and hit second level, there's nothing stopping us from hitting the secondary. Okay? Easier said than done, but if we see a 5-man front, we need to toughen up as linemen. Now, that being said, linemen, this is where communication comes in handy, right? So when you break the huddle and you see a 5-man front, start talking to each other. Okay, it's so important to communicate. I like my offensive linemen to be loud when they break the huddle. Even if you're wrong, point. The worst thing that can happen if you're wrong is the guy beside you says, hey, that's not the right call. You're going to this guy and I'm going to this guy. At least you know. But make sure we're communicating. If we buy these 5 and we get our fullback out to the second level, we're gone. Clazy makes a pretty nice play here and gets around some guys and makes a nice play here, but could have been bigger if we got to that second level. Okay, play number 15. We're against a 4-man front. We actually get to the second level by the fullback, and we get a nice gain here. Okay, again, I'd like to see our linemen getting second level, but that's okay. So if we look here, sorry, let me pause it here. We have covered. So our center should be the one chipping and coming up to Mac, and then our fullback should account for that outside linebacker. Okay, let's see what happens when this actually goes through. So our center snaps, goes backside, and misses it altogether, okay? Now, because our fullback makes a really good play getting to second level, and we bounce this outside, it's a nice gain. But imagine how different this would have looked if we get to backer here. Okay, instead of going backside, if we're able to pick up this guy, this play is going to the house, right? Very simple. But again, O-lineman, I need you guys to communicate as much as you can and go from there. Coach Baker, anything to add on that one?
No, that was just a beautiful effort by Clazy, really, there. Made two guys miss, got north-south. I just love Clazy's running style. He's so little and stocky. He plays with excellent pad level, which is a key for leads for any running backs in here. Pad level, pad level. I always emphasize that. It's key until you break the line of scrimmage. When you get to that second level, you can pop up then, but maintain your pad level. Just fight through those arm tackles, get those 5 yards.
So we have some younger players on the call. What do you mean by pad level, Coach Baker?
Just you can't be standing straight up as a running back. You got to be lower to the ground. Linebackers are going to be trying to get low to try and take your legs on stuff. If you're playing just as low as they are, you have the potential to run through an arm tackle, run them over, or just stay on your feet and fight for those extra yards. Clazy is an excellent running back at that.
Yeah, he's always at the right body position and ready to go, and I'm looking forward to playing against him in the fall.
We'll see more Chase than Clazy, but
Absolutely. Okay, we've got 4 more plays to go, and then I'm going to let you enjoy what's left of this nice night. Okay, we're against the Cowboys here. It's a 4-man front. We can tell 1, 2, 3, and this is standing in front of a lineman here. So nice double team, but we're unable to get a hat on the Mac, who ends up forcing this play. Our fullback takes on the will in the hole, and we're able to make positive yards. Okay, 15 is Mac. Okay, I would love to see a lineman get to his level. Now, who would be the lineman based on this? Who would you pick? Anybody on the chat line? Who would be our lineman that's climbing to Mac? Oh, Jacob was quick on that. Our Hoggies are getting in on the chat. That's right. Our center should be chipping, but in this case, this guy is so far over. That's a hard chip to make. So I'd be going straight to Mac, and if I was a running back, I'd look to bounce it in here. That's not what happens, though. We're gonna double team, and that's okay. But 15 is unchecked and forces the play. We still make good yards on this. Don't get me wrong. We still make positive yards, but that's a lot of work for a running back. If we got a hat on 15 earlier, so if 15 is cut off right about here, we can really slam this through the hole right there. There's a huge hole here. So if we can get somebody to that level, but instead we get caught up double teaming that tackle, right? Again, I'd rather win the battle on the line and lose the battle at the linebacker level than to win against linebackers and have a defensive lineman make the play. So if you have to double team and you have to do it because that defensive lineman is so good and that's what needs to happen, I get it. But getting the hat to the linebacker, getting the hat to the Mac would have made this play a home run. Instead, we have to do some good running outside, and we make a play out of it.
15's a monster too, that kid. Like, we should know we have to account for him every play and get a hat on him. You don't want him running around unblocked. So Jacob and Caleb, let's see how well you guys have been paying attention. In the chat line, what would I like you to do when you break the huddle here? Who would I want you to identify as Mac? Exactly. So what I would expect from Caleb or Jacob, if you're playing center, when you break the huddle, you're going to point out 15 Mac, and then you're going to call out your blocks. That way everybody knows 15 is the guy in the middle. Okay? One more time, I'll run this full speed, and then we'll move on. This might break a record for my longest call so far. I thought last one was going to be long, but I had 30 plays on Tuesday, and this is only 20. But play number 17, we're against a 4-man front. Max is going to block a blitz, and this is going to make things pretty simple for us.
Remember our covered versus uncovered rule, and you're going to watch our linebacker make a nice block here. So again, covered versus uncovered, we are running to the left side here again. Okay, if we're running to the left side, who is our covered player right here? Our max should be looking to chip to 15. Okay. Oh, I'm going the other way. Sorry, I got this backwards. Okay, we're on the other side here, okay? So here's our covered player. We're looking to chip. We're going to be coming through this hole here. Linebacker is going to declare blitz here. So this outside linebacker is coming up here. We actually don't really need to account for him. Am I screwing this up?
This is candy. This isn't
That's a
lead.
candy. Sorry, I got the wrong play. My notes don't match. My bad. Let's move on to play number 18. This should be Larry versus a fire. Sorry, one sec. Not sure what's going on with my screen. There we go. Technology is new to me, everybody. Okay, this is play number 18. 33 Larry against a 4-man front. Okay, against the Cats here. So 4-3, we see 4 down linemen. The Mac is going to blitz. The running back will bounce this outside. Now, talking points here, it's hard to tell here. But if we look at the edge, the defensive end really goes inside. And we're able to bounce around him. It's tough to see from the sideline angles. I wish all of the leagues that we had were able to do end zone cuts because it's so much better, but that's the way it is. So the next play, 33 Larry against a 4-man front, and we get pretty lucky that the Mac does not make a play here. Okay? So again, our double teams for 33 Larry, or 33 lead, we're on this side here. Okay? Covered, should be double teaming up. Mac is allowed to be free. Fullback misses him, and we end up outrunning him. But this middle linebacker should have stuffed this dead. Okay? So this is an example of why we cannot let that guy go completely untouched like that. Fullback's got to take the first most dangerous guy. He has his head on the right, on the linebacker he's supposed to look at. He makes a good block, and our running backs follow the right lead. But that Mac, we got very lucky, didn't make the play in the hole. Last clip today, we have 34 Larry against 4-man front, and they're going to blitz pretty heavy here. So it's 4-man front, but we've got 2 extra guys down on the line. So we're going to buy the first 5. We actually get those 5, and this is what I was talking about. I know it's tough to do because 5-on-5 is tough, but if we buy the guys to our side and we hit that hole hard, fullback is going to help. There's not a lot of help in the secondary. We're at safety at 7 yards already. Okay, that's a nice looking run. Right?
That's a great cut by Clazy in the backfield. I always say on leads, guys, you get 1 cut in the backfield, so you got to make your decision if you're going to cut back like that. But just great, 1 foot in the ground, gets north-south, reverses field a bit, and just great vision by the back there.
Now, I would actually extend what Coach Baker says to most plays here. Okay, at the line of scrimmage, I don't want to see you dancing more than 1 step, right? You're making 1 cut and you're committing to it. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to hold our blocks that long, right? If you don't make a definitive cut and go forward with it and you dance in the hole, right? Like Baker's right. This play is right here. He makes a decision. He's going all in. Okay. He's going 100 miles an hour as fast as he can, and he's going to come through. If they're going to tackle him, they're going to have to bring him down. But he is not dancing. He is committed to running that football. Okay. So those are the plays I have for everybody today. Are there any questions from anyone out there? Before you all leave, I would like to add all our previous stuff into the chat here. So take a second to look at that. We've gone over the passing tree, what I consider good and bad routes, rub and cross concepts, outside zones, zone reads and screens, and what I consider passing game fundamentals. We broke that up over 2 sessions. On Tuesday's call, we're going to be looking at counters. Counters, to me, are a key play in our offense. You can be a lead team and set up the counter, or you could be a counter team and set up the lead. It just depends on your philosophy, but both plays are integral to every level I've seen good running be done, whether it be at Pee Wee, whether it be at the pros. Every good team has good leads and counters. So something to look at. That is our chat for today. Thank you so much for spending almost an hour with me. We're at 7:58. We're 2 minutes short of an hour. I really appreciate today's session. Enjoy the weekend. Hopefully we get some sun, and I will talk to everybody on Tuesday.